the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have a really full agenda. It'd be great if we can vote on our final operating budget at the end of the meeting tonight. I think it's very doable. But I'll start by if we have any public input. Nope. Okay. Our first appointment is with Jack. Come on down. Do you want to start with the warrant article, if you would, please? Or
I don't have it, but
I
don't have it in front of me, but you can.
All right. Well, let's see. Why don't you talk to us about this? And why you moving the truck? The warrant article that we were going to review, let's see if I can find it. It is number 5.
Number 5.
No? Did we change numbers?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it keeps getting changed.
That's
It's the 12 now.
It's number 12.
It will change again, but.
Okay.
There we go.
And it reads, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $29,000 to purchase and equip a new vehicle for the code officer. Majority vote required, recommended by Board of Selectmen 3-0. We voted on this 5-2 previously, and that was before Jack had shared.
Well, I changed the amount for that. It was 35. That's been changed to 29.
Yeah.
And we also added $4,000 to the revenue side of the budget for the value of the old truck.
Okay. But if you could tell us.
Yeah, I just had some work done to it. It needed something done to the engine at Canton Chevrolet, and then it needed a new gas tank module, and that was done. That was $1,075. So that already went over my budget for line maintenance. So I think it's going to need tires, a steering rack, CV joint, and 2 boots on the front end, and all those, the repairs for the gas tank actually came out less than I originally said, so it'll need probably $3,800 worth of work this year.
$3,800.
And that's about the blue book value of the vehicle.
Okay.
So.
Because before we kind of thought maybe it was okay, but it's not sounding like it's.
No, and then when I went to Canton Chevrolet, they looked up underneath it and said it had quite a bit of rust under it. So when it was up on the lip in January when it was there, so. And that's the reason. So it's 10 years old. So.
Okay, and so I think.
And it'll either be traded or it'll be probably most likely a sealed bid, because they usually do better with a sealed bid to get rid of the old one.
I'm of the opinion we should revisit this. Could I have a motion to revisit this warrant article, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
No second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Guy and John against. So we're going to revisit it. And John, do you want to tell us why you are still?
Oh, when you revisit, I thought, I'm ready to vote on it, that's why I said no. I thought you were going to move on to something else and come
Well, I
back to it.
think that we have to move to revisit because we already
The
voted
amount's
on it.
changed.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
And the amount's changed?
Then I'm for that. I'm ready to vote for it.
Okay. So, Guy, you didn't want to revisit the.
No, I was happy with my vote and everything that was presented before. I'm fine with it.
Okay, the amount is lower and it's been brought to our attention that it needs quite a bit of repair. So I guess now I'll call for a motion to approve the new warrant article as it reads.
So moved.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Looks like 6-1. Guy's still out because you think that it is in good shape, Guy? That's what you told us last time.
I have no comment.
Okay.
Against you. Why do you discriminate against the yes voters? You always ask the no voters, but you never ask the yes voters why they vote yes.
Ask me why I voted yes, Guy, I'll tell you.
I'm fine.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Jeff.
So that vote has passed, and now let's look at your budget. We have some changes there as well. It looks like your vehicle maintenance line,
Yeah.
you want to raise that to 2,000, so you want to increase it for another 1,000.
Right, it's $75 in the minus right now, or 76.
What's the number on that budget, please?
That is 4240, Bob.
240.
We've already overspent the line.
Yeah, we have it.
We need to make that full.
So do I have a motion to increase this budget?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, 7-0 on that, Karen.
Okay.
So it is now the 62,597. Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Fred.
Yeah.
Did I
Okay,
win? No.
next I had,
Nobody knows when.
Hilarious.
was Adam gonna come in?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That was 4240.
Yeah.
Is he here?
He was in the
Doesn't
police
see him.
station.
Pardon me?
You didn't see him.
Oh, he didn't see him?
He was
Okay.
in the police station.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Article, looks like it's still Article 9 on my paper, or did you change that one?
Paving. Is that what the paving?
He's coming.
Yes, he's coming. Maybe we could just really quick do this one. Did you want to speak to that?
Sure,
Jeff?
we increased it from the original 250,000. What's the original one?
235, I believe.
235.
It's been the same for every year.
Right.
It's stagnant, way too long, in my opinion.
Two reasons. One, we needed to reevaluate the roads that we're going to pave or try to pave. And more importantly, we got, I believe it was $10,000 for a pavement assessment done by the Lakes Region Planning Board. We did the culverts recently, and they'll come and do the whole town. The question I had when we were discussing it was the math wasn't working. There was testimony that it was $135,000 a mile to do the roads, and I just did some quick math and figured that we'd do each road about every 25 years, which is too long a period of time. So we need to be able to triage a little better and answer our voters' questions a lot more clearly about what our paving schedule actually is, because some roads like Shirley Way, for instance, might last 20 years or 15 years, whereas Ledge Hill Road and Sodom Road might only, you might want to put them on an 8 or 10-year rotation. So there was a lack of information which needed to be addressed, and we also needed to hopefully finish Durgan Road and start on Brown Road. So that's where that came from.
Okay, and I think that for me, in regards to this, it makes perfect sense to have someone come in and do a survey, a third party.
Mhm.
Traditionally, I know you've walked the roads and looked at them, but to have
Right.
a document that says, okay, in 5 years, you might want to really consider this or that, made
And Chairman Woods brought some information to the board about different types of paving for different applications, whether it's a high traffic area or low traffic area. So I think there's a lot more information out there that we need to be looking at, a lot better system that we can put in order.
And we might have to pay more in future years, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, do I have a motion to,
This is a $25,000 increase over what we had approved?
Right.
yes,
Okay.
do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Gordon, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, looks like we have 7-0 on that one, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
And-
absolutely right, it's not enough.
Yeah,
But we don't know what is it.
Well,
It's in future years.
We need to
Right.
get to the point. where
Exactly.
We know what.
it's just been stagnant too long. I mean, we wouldn't let our employees go without at least the cost of living increase. And the cost of paving
do the,
in general, whether it be labor or materials has gone up. I would expect that in the future,
you're
we
right,
might want
you're
to just
exactly right, Karen.
well, yeah, an appropriate amount, but
Chip, are we thinking about hiring somebody to investigate?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
vision
We're
plan.
gonna have a survey done.
And I made an error in point of order here. I didn't have a motion to revisit this. We had already voted on it.
You want a motion to revisit what we just voted on?
Yeah,
I'd be happy to do that.
second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go, Karen.
Thanks.
Yeah, I kind of thought we were revisiting all of these.
Okay, and now we're going to talk to Adam. Come on down. This is another revisit, and this is for, which one do we have, 16? No,
Two.
5. Yeah. May I have a motion to revisit Article 5?
I'll motion to revisit Article 5.
Okay, may I have a second,
I'll
please?
second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's go. What have you got? I asked you to come in because I thought you would talk to us about the truck and the frame.
Okay.
That's information we didn't have when we voted on it initially.
As I had said at the Selectmen's meeting, we're not replacing this truck because the frame is going to break to death. We have no idea when the frame will, fail as far as it goes. We've done everything that we can to keep it from spreading any further as far as it goes. We can't weld it. It's not going to, it can't be done as far as with the dual, the double frame that is put together. But it was cleaned out at one point in time as far as all the rust and all that stuff and sealed up to try to keep it from spreading any further. At approximately 8 years ago, we had the rear of the truck repainted because it had some rust and things like that that were coming out, trying to save that. I did, as far as follow up a little bit further, as far as frame replacement, because I know that the question had come up or something along that lines had come up. A company that I had talked with that is called Coastal Truck and Auto Body. They actually do frame replacement as far as vehicle-wise. And when I had talked with them, they had given me some information on one particular truck that in the past year, last year, had been done, and that was out of Arundel, Maine. The actual truck was a 2002. Ours is a 1998. It was a 4900 series, Class A pumper, and it's used more as a rescue truck, apparently, than a fire truck. But it carries their rescue equipment, but it does have a pump and water. But a single cab, ours is a 4-door. They had it done, the replacement done for $30,000, again, a 2002. And are happy with it. They said that they haven't had any issues, so far as
as they go along. They was asking them if they had front suction. Well, front suction is a 5 or 6 inch pipe that travels from the front of the truck underneath along the frame and to the back to the pump, so that we can hook a suction line to that in one of the dry hydrants that you might see around town, or just hook the suction line to that and pump right from the lake or cistern. So that would be one more thing that we would have to deal with as far as taking off, as far as if something like that was to be replaced. They, not even looking at the truck, they said $40,000. That doesn't include anything that breaks when they take everything off the frame, or if they find anything that is rusted that would have to be replaced. That's all on top of that. So that was a little bit further information as far as frame replacement.
And I have a note here that they could be out of service for up to 2 months.
That, in the past, apparently it has got better. This particular department said that they were guaranteed 3 weeks, and it was done in a week. So that's a lot better than what I've seen in the past, because I've seen the trucks gone for some time and have issues. But obviously things progress as the companies go along. It isn't a simple thing to do something like that. You've got to take everything off. You've got to take the body off. It's not a dump truck. You've got to take the tank out, all the piping, all the wiring, and whatever is normally on a frame, that all would have to come off. So that would worry me as far as to do that. And then you still have a 1998 truck.
So you'd be spending at least $40,000 on a 20-year-old truck.
Without having to look at it as $40,000. And they wouldn't come up and take a look at it?
Oh, they will.
Oh, okay.
But at one point in time, I was told, they'll spend a huge amount of time on it, but I just wanted a general idea of what we would get involved in if
What
we
did
actually
that
did
truck
that.
originally cost?
The truck originally cost was under $300,000. It's what's called a conventional 4-door chassis. Obviously they have the back added to it.
Is there an insurance concern relative to insurance coverage on something like this being undertaken in terms of its safety factor?
They're a certified company, so if they do it, then if you took it to a shop that was in your backyard somewhere, yes. But a company that does this all the time, I would say probably not.
Do they have any idea as to what how many good years you could get out of it once this money is spent?
Well, it all depends on how long the rest of the truck lasts. You still have a 20-year-old pump. You still have a 20-year-old engine and all the other parts that you have attached to it. Say nothing about the safety features that the new truck is going to bring along as far as what has come about in 20 years, as far as rollover protection, the black boxes, the seat belt safety mechanisms that they have in the things, the upgrades as far as pumps. Electrical wise, not so excited about computers and things like that, but that all comes with this day and age.
You just don't know if it would pass inspection right now?
Oh, I know that it'll pass inspection.
Okay.
I'm not saying, what I'm saying is that we're not going out to get this truck because the frame is going to fail tomorrow. We don't know when that will happen. Currently, it's past inspection.
Okay.
We have an inspection that will be coming up. We have the trucks inspected twice a year. The actual inspection is in September. because things have changed in the state. But in March, we have a major service done to all the apparatus that goes through it, top to bottom, to try to find anything that's wrong. They service the pumps, they grease them, and they go through the stuff from top to bottom. So,
What is the lead time to get the new truck?
a new truck, it's a year. So it's not something that you just go out and here it is.
But you're not looking at doing anything with this frame if it went to town meeting and passed for a new truck, you'd just sell it
Yeah,
as
the
is?
truck would be sold as is.
Okay.
And we've started to contact areas that sell fire apparatus, because there may be some area in the southern part of the country that would buy something like this.
Do we have any idea what the value is?
And I haven't been able to get a value yet, but I'm sure that I possibly could. But usually if you say anything about, that this frame spread, they kind of back away from it.
Okay,
So we pay for it in 18 and we get it in 19, is that?
Yes.
well, it's looking as if we would, I'll read the warrant here. It says, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $123,142 and authorize the selectmen to enter into a 5-year lease purchase agreement in the amount of $580,000 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a new fire truck for the fire department to replace fire engine 2. $123,142 reflects the first year's payment. The lease agreement contains an escape clause. Majority vote required. Our initial vote was 5-2, and it's been recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0.
Has this changed?
No, but we didn't have any information on any possible frame issues. So yes, Karen.
Excuse me, the DRA did have us change the sentences around a little bit.
Oh, the sentences
Just to
are on?
reflect the first year's payment.
That's right. What we have right now is the wording that,
DRA gave us.
yes, Guy.
So as I understand it, when we have an escape clause, we will have to have a warrant for each year's payment voted on at town meeting, and that's one of the things. So we're not actually going to ask anyone for $580,000 this year. We're going to ask for $123,142. Then the next years, as we go along, we do it every time. That's how that works.
That's the way that's what the DRA is going to.
And it seems a little odd at times, but with an escape clause, if for some reason we get a lemon, I mean, or it just doesn't suit our purposes, don't have to pay $580,000. If we need to give it back, heaven forbid, but for some reason, we do have a little protection with it, I think. I don't know. Everybody else's opinion is not.
It's financing.
But I'm confused, I guess, on when we start paying, when we actually receive it. It'd be like me getting a lease on a truck, and I pay for it now, but I get it in a year.
Well, here's what happens, or what has happened with the other apparatus in the past. By paying for the truck up front, we then have it's bonded, or as far as there's something there that the company puts in place that says they guarantee that they're going to build this. If they don't build it, we get our money to be able to go to a different company for them to build it. That's usually like $3,000 for the vehicle payment, as far as it goes. By paying for it up in advance, usually you get a discount on the truck as far as the chassis. If you own the chassis and they don't have to finance the money for that chassis, you get it for cheaper as far as it goes. And what we have been finding, and what I had found when I called the finance company for this lease purchase, was that everything's going up. The percentage rate has already changed to 3.5%. They're estimating when we get to the point that we really want to do this, if we do this, which would change the payment to $124,115. So they're saying, what they had said to me was that right now, lease rates are trying to figure out the new tax code and how to adjust to a new rate of return. Feel free to call me back frequently, since the rates will bounce around a little until things get settled down. So apparently businesses, they don't, the way that she explained it to me was that they don't need, these leases so much anymore. So they're not able to give them so cheaply before they change things. But I'm not a finance person by any means, and I'll never try to tell you that I am. But the numbers had changed, which I'm glad DRA did say something so that I was able to find that out at least.
Well, you just said that it would cost $124,000.
124, 115 would be the first payment.
So,
And that's the advance.
which is not what's in here.
Yeah, I think, you're looking at this run.
And this is information that I just got today, so no one,
So we're gonna have to change.
no one has that.
Well, based on that,
Well, they're not gonna guarantee that payment until after town meeting, are they?
Right, no.
So there's no
Should
reason
we
to change
make
the warrant article, we need to change it at town meeting.
oh,
Because we need to change it when we can make a deal.
You can amend it.
Okay, so we're going to leave it at 123, 142,
I think so.
because we're selectmen's in charge of that anyway.
And
Okay,
Then change it at town meeting.
it might be.
It might change at town meeting.
yeah, I mean, I ran some numbers on the frame if you want, but it's
What do you have
it's
there?
really up to you, no votes. But I mean, in order to amortize that frame repair, we'd have to keep the old truck an additional 5 years. And at the current rate of travel on new vehicles, if they're increasing in price at the same rate that they have been increasing in price, you never really get ahead. You end up having to keep the old truck for close to 8 years before you can get back to zero. And you're increasing the annual, I mean, we're just keeping a vehicle 20 years is a little strange, but that's how fire departments do it. So you actually have been spending $15,000 a year or around that on a fire apparatus, and we're going up to $28,000 for the new one. I don't know if you've done any work on what having a 25-year-old pumper does to our insurance rates or any of that sort of thing.
I have not checked with the insurance company.
But I know that there's actuaries out there that just look at that kind of stuff.
I do know that, talking with the dealers, one of them said that next year, looking at the pricing, that it would go up $50,000 approximately, as far as vehicle-wise, if it was
Building it. Okay.
if it was voted down.
So that's even more, because I was coming up with an annualized rate of around 14. Okay.
So I just had one final concern on this, because I'm okay with the purchase. Is the timing of when we can say that we're getting the revenue of the old truck, because it does say replace. We can't budget for that because we're not going to sell it for a year. So how?
It's not on our revenue side.
Right, because we can't sell it because we're not going to get it for a year.
Right.
So how do we ensure that it'll be on next year's revenue budget?
Well, that's what we're here for. I mean, we put Jack's old truck on that estimated
Because
revenue.
we're going to get the same, they're going to get the truck in the same year.
Right. But
So you can
we'll do the same thing will happen next year, is we'll have to give an estimated revenue. And that revenue estimation will include getting rid of the old fire engine. So it'll be probably on
So I
that.
gotta take your word on that for next year?
We'll be here.
Well,
That is true, one more.
the other
Where else are we
thing,
gonna put the money?
the
You
other,
don't sell it.
Okay, Adam?
well,
That's the other thing.
we've always been made to sell it.
Yeah.
Anytime, there's always someone that stands up and says, you're gonna sell this piece of apparatus,
Okay.
right? And we haven't gone back on that.
I don't know why we'd keep it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, oh, it'd always be nice to have a spare engine, but not one with a frame.
But still, it's for budgeting purposes, I just
Yeah.
like it to be on the same.
But we can put Jack's truck in the revenue because we'll get that sooner and be able
Right,
to
'cause in the
sell
same
this, but we
period.
can't
Right.
this one because we won't until next
Right, we're
year.
gonna handle that, right, that was my only concern, is that we can't budget for this, the same thing, because
The history of the town shows that we've always sold.
Well, I mean, we could elect not to make the first payment this year. The problem there is, you can't nail down the price.
Right, I can't guarantee that it'll be 580.
well, and interest rates in a year are probably gonna be
Right.
worse,
Yeah.
would be my
Oh.
guess.
Also, we haven't found out whether or not we can trade, if it's worth anything as far as trading
Hmm.
Oh, to that company.
to
Yeah.
either of the companies that
Right.
may be bidding.
Any more questions for Adam? May I have a motion, please?
I'll move the motion.
Are we revisiting or are we?
Oh, yeah.
I think we already did make the motion to revisit, correct?
Revisit, right.
Now we're making the
On
motion.
the revisited article.
Right. And so Gordon, you moved, correct? May I have a second?
I'll-
Okay, Helen second. All in favor on this one?
Aye.
Okay, 6-1 on this one.
Hold me to that revenue number then next year.
And
Good,
Guy,
good.
could
I
you,
like that.
public
I'm
hearing,
living for
could you
pressure.
tell us your thoughts on this?
Actually, my thoughts have actually changed in some respects. Not knowing what the legislature is going to do with this latest donor town proposal, I'm hesitant to spend any money at all. That scares me. So I think if we were to wait a year on this, which I think the truck will make it with no problem, it would be a prudent thing to do. The bad aspect of that, and I will speak to both sides of that, is if we do get hit with this donor town affair, we're not going to have a lot of money to be throwing around. It's terrible, but I would vote to wait a year.
Okay, thank you, Guy. All right,
Good job.
thank you very much, Adam, for coming in.
Well, I'd also like to speak to another issue
Yes,
concerning our chief.
yes.
Having friends, family, and relatives, fire chiefs, fire departments, I've been made aware, and I looked into it. The fire chiefs do have a personal liability issue in some of the decisions they make. And so they will always err on the side of caution. And I commend Adam for doing that and everything that he does. Thank you, Adam.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Adam.
And thank you for
Good point.
taking the time to actually, think about these things and take your time here. I know you're not paid to be here. You don't have to be here, as far as that goes. And put up with all of this as far as that goes. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam.
Do-
Appreciate it.
Do we have to address that second?
We're going to address it, you don't need to
Don't
worry
need
about
to?
it.
Okay.
Just accounting.
Very good. Thank you very much.
It is next on the agenda, the fire and rescue. It used to be in our operating budget,
Right.
and DRA has said, no, it has to be a warrant.
Right.
So,
So it came out of the operating budget, so we've got to address the long-term payment parts of our operating budget, and it has to be voted on annually because it has an escape clause. So the legislative body could actually choose to vote no, at which point we would make the $82,843 payment, $89,318 installment.
How are we going now?
Yeah, no, they just come and get it.
I don't think we have to have a vote to revisit this, do I, Karen?
No, because you haven't seen this one yet.
Right,
But
we
I
did
mean,
vote
we
on it.
did vote on it as part of the operating budget,
Oh, I see.
Right.
but we can't do that.
We're
So,
going to vote on the operating budget as well.
at the very end, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll read this Article 16. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $89,318 to pay a third installment towards the ambulance vehicle and rescue truck acquired by a town meeting vote in March of 2016. The principal amount is $82,843 and the interest is $6,475. This lease agreement contains an escape clause, majority vote required. Recommended by Board of Selectmen 3-0. And now it's our turn. May I have a motion?
I'll motion to vote on that.
Okay, Guy? First,
Second.
Gordon second, all in favor? And Guy, no, okay. 6-1, and the same reasons you didn't vote for it in the operating budget, Guy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. We have another revisit. May I have a motion to revisit the library warrant? John had some concerns about wording, and we do have the corrected wording. That's Gordon and Bob, all in favor? 7-0 to revisit. All right. Is that listed on Article 3, I believe?
Article 3.
Okay.
And that's,
This, what you have in front of you, John, is the corrected PRA wording. Did you have any thoughts on it?
No.
Are we ready to vote?
Actually, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
For Gordon. Gordon, does that $416,000 number reflect the pledges that you're working
Yes.
with? It does.
Hmm?
All right. That
That
presents
is
an
a
issue.
moving target.
Yes, and it does present an issue to me. Pledges are not money in hand.
True.
So you don't have $416,000.
The town of Oakborough, when they redid their town hall,
Mhm.
did the exact same way.
Right?
They received every single pledge dollar that was pledged.
That's really good. However, that's a guess. As you said, it's a moving target.
True.
Someone could get killed in a snowstorm because they don't have four-wheel drive, for example. The pledge goes away, the family decides they don't want to do it. I really have an issue with this. I don't think we're representing properly the revenues that are available. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have any other comments, questions? No? All right. May I have a motion to approve Article 3 on the library?
so moved.
May I have a second? Helen, second. All in favor? And 6-0 on that one. Karen and Guy, for the reason you just, or 6-1,
Yes.
for the reason you just stated, the
Yes.
416.
I like the wording.
All right. Budget revisits. Other highways and streets.
Do you have any comments?
Nope. Other than I really hope we can get through all of this tonight.
Did you, Chairman's comments?
I was just saying, my only comment was I hope we can get through all of it tonight. I will say that I did run, I keep a running log of everything. When we voted, there will be a couple of things that I'd like to revisit according to my little log here too. Shouldn't take too long, but, all right, let's do highways and streets. Jay.
Okay, the selectmen increased the highway and street line 20, docks and bridges, by $6,500 to accommodate for the HEB engineering costs for putting the repair out to bid and engineering the repair on that bridge to bring it back up to load-bearing capacity.
So that's to put it out to bid, and then there was talk about having
But
a
that's
third party.
right. The other money in the Sodom Road Bridge is in a warrant article, which is going to include the repair and the oversight.
Ah,
We had talked
Oversight,
about
okay.
a third-party engineer. That's still up in the air. I don't think we've agreed to having a third-party engineer at this juncture. It's a strange animal in that if it were a replacement or when we actually do the replacement on the Southern Road Bridge, we put it out to bid, we get a bid on the engineering, we get a bid on the construction, and we get a bid on the construction management. That's the logical way to do these things. This one, because we've got a road closed down or under a weight restriction, we need to do something for repair, so it's a little harder to put it out for bid when you don't have the engineering done and you don't have the time to go through that process and still get it on the warrant so that you can fund it so you can get it repaired. And we didn't feel as though we could actually wait another year to repair the bridge. We need to get it repaired this year.
Okay, given this that I did it again, but thank you for that explanation, I need to have a motion to revisit.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, this is for 4313. May I have a second? Gordon? All in favor? All right, and thank you for that explanation. Again, it's to raise it $6,500 for HEB, and that's for the contracting?
That's to put out for bid.
To put out to bid.
What's the final figure?
13,000.
Even?
Even.
Was that 7-0?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. May I have a motion for increasing it?
I'm sorry, we motioned to revisit. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we increase the budget to reflect the $6,500 increase and make the total 13,000.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Bob, all in favor? 7-0 on that one. Thank you, folks. All right. Now, I am going to ask for a motion to revisit cemetery. May I have a motion, please? We have an increase for file cabinet.
I'll make the motion to revisit the cemetery budget.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Helen seconds, all in favor? Okay, 7-0 to revisit. Cemetery would like to purchase a file cabinet. I understand this is a fireproof.
Yes. Our current file cabinet is not only too small, but not fireproof, very old, and we feel the need to have that so that we can reorganize and actually protect our records in case, God forbid, we have a fire here at the town offices.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to make them electronic?
I don't know that.
It's $1,500.
I'm totally out in the woods when it comes to electronics.
No, I know we voted, is this how many drawers?
4.
4? Because I think we voted to purchase a new file cabinet for the office here, and that was about $600. But this is a special one. I don't know if the one for the town is fireproof. And you priced them out, I'm sure.
This is the price that our chairman came up with.
And where is the file cabinet going to be?
This one will be in the basement.
Here?
Yes. Currently, it's in a little cubbyhole off Jack's office over here. We feel that the basement would be a safer place for it.
Okay.
And I can't speak authoritatively to this, but I'm sure Susie Weeks can. There's any number of situations where the state will say you need to keep a paper record.
Well, now my concern is that it waterproof.
They haven't gotten to the point where they'll accept an electronic record.
It's because the plots are deeds, and there's a new standard.
Okay.
Things do change rapidly in the cemeteries, we found out. the hard way.
Till you get there.
That's
And they don't change it.
No, that doesn't change. Then once you arrive, it's pretty well set.
Noisy parties and everything.
All changes cease.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about the original was $19,800,
Yes.
okay, and we're increasing it to
21,300.
21,300.
May I have a motion
So
to,
move.
okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, you're not abstaining this time, right, guys?
No, that's equipment, that's not
Okay,
what I consider the operating budget.
okay.
So,
All right. Solid waste disposal. Come on down, Clay. We have a couple of more increases here, and hoping Guy can, or Clay can talk to us about a couple other things
I
too.
make a motion to revisit this article.
Thank you. May I have a second to revisit? John, and all in favor? All revisiting. All right, the first thing I noticed was C&D, MSW, and closure monitoring. We have some slight increases. Can we talk about that?
Right. The C&D costs obviously are based on how much we went through, and it was a guess when we first started as to how we were going to end up the year. And we were a little bit short in our guess, and I was gone here for the last 8 or 9 days, and I had the final numbers came in, I put them in, and we've adjusted. I guess the selectmen decided to adjust the totals to reflect what we actually spent this year,
Okay.
which was a $2,000 increase for C&D and a $2,000 increase for MSW from what we previously voted on.
And the closure monitoring,
The closure monitoring, there was a individual or a couple individuals were out walking in the vicinity of the landfill and noticed, or what they appeared to be something seepage in the wetland area, and they came and asked the selectmen. I've contacted Stantec, Dave Wallen, and so we're going to test that area, and that's the cost of doing the tests in that area.
okay. Any other changes on the budget itself then, Clay? That's it?
Nope. The only other thing you asked about
I
is...
did.
Oh, okay.
Can I vote on this first?
Absolutely.
All right. May I have a motion for 4324, increasing it to $375,522?
So moved.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? All right. 7-0 on that. All right, and I did ask you to come in the past and talk to us about avoided costs.
Right. What I did was, it takes me until about this time in the beginning of February to get all the costs in. Can I talk to this one?
Sure.
While we're looking. Didn't put enough of them. Hold on.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. I can follow along.
I established, when I first came on board here, I tried to get more information out to the public and the residents of our net worth and how we do business at the transfer station, and turn it more into a business operation rather than just float people with numbers here and there that they're never really accurate. And I tried to establish some type of basis, which necessitated establishing our actual revenue stream. And then if we were to ship everything out via the compactor, which would be the only other option, one end of the spectrum to the other, it was the most expensive way to ship stuff out. So when we take stuff out of the compactor, or we have people recycling on a voluntary basis, how do we get rid of that material? How do we either make money, or it cost us a little bit of money, but the difference between what it costs us and what it would have cost us to send out in the compactor is what we call avoided costs. And so there's a value to avoided costs that the public would never see, or the selectmen would never see, or anybody that wasn't actually doing it would never see that amount. because we don't get it in cash revenue, and it doesn't offset the cost of expenses. So I had to figure out some type of method to get that information out to the public. And what I did was I created a matrix. And the matrix starts off on the left-hand side, the major commodities that we have that we can either sell or have to get rid of. MSW being a compactor, the most expensive way to get our material out. C&D, construction debris, aluminum cans, cardboard, scrap metal, mixed paper, steel tin cans, glass, clothes, electronics, and plastics. Those are the major areas. There's others down below, which I'll explain later. But across on the top, then I had to generate, okay, how do we figure out how much money we've avoided paying? You have to establish how much have you moved during the year. So the first column is the tons moved this year. So for MSW, it's 1,047 tons of material we moved out via the compactors. The next column is the cost to remove in the compactor, which I've made. It's a little bit more than what I've actually put down here. I put down $100 a ton just so the math is easier to understand for the basic person. So you take that $100 a ton times the tonnage in the first column, and you would get the dollar amount that it would cost if you ship that out via the compactor, via waste management to the landfill. So that second column, for each one of those commodities, that's how much it would cost to ship it out. Then we have to establish, okay, we either do that, or we get people to voluntarily recycle and come into the building, or put it in the scrap metal pile, or put it in the tire container, or put it in the brush pile, or steel, aluminum cans, mixed cans. So how much of that is taken? That's in the tonnage for each commodity. And how much did it cost us to get rid of it? So if you go down to, like, for construction debris and MSW, the first two blocks, it's a little bit less than for MSW, 98,000 versus 104,000. I'll explain why that number is different in a second when we get to the next column. But for C&D, it's roughly about the same, because what you put in CD is what you actually pay to get rid of. There's a couple dollar errors because we round up from 50 cents versus down, and we have 70 containers, so you can get $40, $50 off. But it's pretty close. Aluminum cans was 7.5 tons we moved. It would have cost $750 if those aluminum cans all went in the compactor. But because we shipped it out, it didn't cost us anything to ship it out. The next column is, that would be avoided costs, because we don't have to pay to ship that material out. Okay? And you get down to glass, which is a good example. We shipped out 52 tons. That would have cost $5,200 to move out of the compactor. We shipped it out via truck over to Wakefield, and it cost us $30 a ton to get rid of that material. So it cost us $1,554 to get rid of the material, which would have cost $5,200 in the compactor. Therefore, the avoided cost, or what we didn't spend, was $3,646. Now, if you go back up to the next column, is the avoided cost for each one of the commodities. The ones in parentheses in the bottom, electronics and plastic, it actually cost us more money. We are mandated by the state to send out the electronics via a very expensive process. And we bid and we shop around to get the lowest bidder. But we actually end up losing money on the electronics that way. And the same thing with our plastic. If you go back up to aluminum cans, which is one of our biggest money makers, 7.5 tons, cost to remove was $750, and we sent it in the compactor. It didn't cost us anything because we sold it. So the avoided cost was $750, which we saved, plus we made $9,300 on the 7.5 tons that we sent out. So if you get through the avoided cost column, that establishes what our avoided costs are. And then you total it up, and you get the number at the bottom of the page, 33,987. The actual revenue we took in was revenue, cash money or payments that were made for either our commodities or for services or for stickers, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to take all the revenue in. If you are confused a little bit on the first two lines with the MSW, the reason we went from 104,700 to get rid of it via the compactor, you say, well, how come that isn't the same in the next column? Because you're saying that's what it costs to get rid of. There's ways to save money on that too. If Waste Management comes out and only hauls one compactor, it costs us $187. If we haul two compactors, it costs us $225 total. So we save, you know, $70, $80 per each haul for those two containers. So I've always tried to operate so that whenever Waste Management comes out, it's not one container, it's two. So we save that money. So that's the difference. The $5,760 was avoided costs. We've saved it because we're always taking two containers out versus one. The actual revenue in against MSW, because we don't have any, is the sticker money and et cetera, like that, and some of the commercial fees for commercial guys.
Did you say plastics were mandated by the state to ship those out too?
No,
or is
no,
that
no.
just
Plastics,
Okay.
it's just it's a money
Just
losing
electronics.
operation just
Okay.
because the way plastics are going right now. It costs more money, a lot more money, to generate recycled plastic than it does virgin plastic. So it's no one's paying anything.
Okay.
And in the future, this fluctuates up and down. What's important to know here is the bottom two columns. Avoided cost was $33,987, and our actual revenue is $101,690. So our net worth to the town, if you will, for the transfer station is $135,677.
Well done.
So my goal when I first got here was to try to make those two numbers equal to what it costs us on my budget line for our labor. We're $1,000 short right now.
So on the electronics issue, it actually only costs us about $800 or so.
No, it costs us $5,375 to get rid of it. The avoided cost was a negative $3,875. Right. The reason the electronics column is a little bit higher this year, and that's the same thing if you go up to aluminum cans, we have a $10,000 or a $15,000 swing, because if we ship something out in December, okay, you get benefit in that year. And so like aluminum cans, we'll have a full truckload maybe every year and a half.
Okay.
So if we ship something out in December, the next year you're not going to have any aluminum cans if you wait for a full truckload again.
Let's all recycle.
So, you know, so some of those things, like we normally ship out between cardboard and mixed paper, we normally ship out 70 to 90 tons a year. For cardboard, we only had 2 shipments this year.
Okay.
Normally we have 3. But the previous year we had 1 in December, and we had 1 in January of this year. So for 2017, we only had 2. So that the revenue can go up and down. What I did was I added to the back of this 2016, so you can see what we made in 2016, 2015, and I have available, if you do want it, I have available 2014 and 2013.
Getting back on the electronics, they pay to put the electronics into the transfer station.
Right. That's where we made $3,020 on the revenue end. Right. This is what it cost us to get rid of it.
Okay. All right.
If we would have sent it out, it's only 15 tons. If we would have just thrown that in the compactor and sent it out, it would only cost $1,500. So if you take the $5,375 minus the $1,500, we have a negative avoided cost, or an overage, of $3,875. We collected $3,020.
So it's almost a
right. It's almost a push. And that's another shipment where we made 5 shipments out of electronics this year. Normally we make out of 2017. Normally we make 4. The cost for a shipment on that container is $1,075. So 4 times 1,075, we were over a little bit because instead of making the shipment out in December of 2016, we made one out in January.
Okay.
January and then 4 more, and we had to make one out in December before the end of the year. So
What do you consider in the electronics? Televisions, obviously. but,
the old stereo component units,
Mhm.
anything with a screen, a TV, or a laptop computer, or a computer monitor, CPUs for computers, any hard basic, and we also put printers and microwaves.
Anything that has a cord on it too, right?
Not anything, but pretty much. When you get down to below a 6-inch screen, they don't care. They can go on the compactor. But anything above that, screen-wise, the mandatory that has to go in there.
Well, thank you for sharing your contribution.
Right.
Are you going to be at the public hearing
Yes,
next
I'll be there.
week?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, I'm gonna publish this. I'll put a copy of this on the front door of our station. I'll, maybe put one out here.
You're gonna be online next year.
Pardon?
Put it on the website.
Yeah,
Right.
next
You'll be
year.
on the interweb.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions on this for Clay? Have a good evening.
I'll give you that one.
Oh, terrific, thank you.
Okay.
Good day tomorrow.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Karen, you'll have to help me on 4711, long-term bonds and notes. Why am I revisiting that?
We're revisiting that because we
Oh,
had to put the,
Because now it's a warrant article.
yeah, we had to put the ambulance, or take the ambulance off.
All right.
Ambulance and rescue vehicles. So do you want to vote to revisit it?
I
Yes.
already took it
You
off.
already did.
We already did, but do I have to?
Don't we have to vote on the
Change
new?
them if you have to
Oh,
do
We
it.
do.
You have to amend it, yeah.
Well, we voted on the warrant article of
We
it.
didn't vote on the total on the line item of the budget.
We didn't. May I have a motion to
So
revisit
moved. 4721?
4711,
4722.
long-term bonds and notes?
So moved.
Okay, and all in favor?
Yeah.
All right. So essentially, we're taking off,
Yeah, we're changing that budget from,
From $82,843 to $153,711.
no, from 236,554 to 153,807.
Isn't that what I said?
You started at the 82,000.
Oh, sorry.
Could you,
That's okay.
could you read that number to what you started from?
It started 236,544,
236,
554.
554.
and now it's going to be 153,711, correct?
Correct.
That's fine. Switch over to the second,
Okay.
this new page.
We've already voted to do it the other way. Point of order, do I have to vote to take this off?
Seems to me it might be
You would.
changing the amount.
Okay. May I have a,
I'll make a motion.
make a motion?
Go for it,
That we
Bob.
vote to lower that budget to reflect the number, that line item, I should say, to reflect the number $153,711.
I'm going to second it.
Good, good, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
7-0 on that. Okay, now we're doing the 4721 long-term interest on those notes.
Ditto.
Ditto. John, do you want to,
Sure, I'll make a motion to decrease that one.
Okay.
To 38,274.
wait, I have to have a motion to
Oh.
revisit. So you're making a motion
Yeah,
to
motion.
revisit?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Now you can make your motion to,
To decrease the amount to 38,274.
okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
What was the original number?
the original number was,
$44,749.
749, thank you.
and now it's 38,274. All in favor?
But just
7-0.
Going down already.
All right,
Plumber.
Saving money.
all right. I have just a couple of,
Slide of the hand, yeah, exactly.
and we can say no to revisit. John, you were absent a couple of days, or one day, and late another day. Did you want to revisit any of those that we already voted on? Do you want to know which ones they are?
Sure.
4140. You were absent on 1025, I think. So elections and registrations. Let's see which other one we'll do. The ambulance contract, which is 4215. You already voted. We did vote again on the. No, we didn't. Fire department. 4220.
Should have been 4240 also. Except that we revisited that just now.
Yeah.
And then 4290. Which was emergency management.
Yes.
I think those were the only ones we did at that meeting.
That
Yeah, I think I'm good on those.
Pardon me?
I'm good on those.
Okay, we'll just leave it the way they
Yeah,
are?
yeah.
Okay, you,
I
and
assume they
then
all passed.
the other one was, you were late last week, so we,
Kind of passive aggressive thing going on.
no, I'm moving on to Guy in a
I think I
minute.
remember my wife.
4191, planning and zoning, you didn't have a chance to vote on. Those were revisits, and 4155. You want to vote on the revisits, or?
4190, no, I thought I did that one.
We did a revisit last time that we met,
Oh,
and you came in after we were doing the revisits.
Master plan,
yeah, that's fine.
an
You're
additional
okay?
$1,500.
So, yeah.
Personal, and it was a calculating error on personnel administration. We had to do a little change there. Are you okay?
Yep.
All right. So your votes won't be reflected in the final. Okay. And then
Typical.
Doesn't happen.
my questions to Guy. Okay, we did just vote on solid waste. You were voting no on most things that had salaries or wages.
Yes, I haven't changed my opinion on them yet.
But you just voted on Clay's budget again.
Then I did. Yeah.
So you did on
I
that
did
one.
change my mind on that one. Go through them, you better.
Pardon me?
You better go through them, yeah.
Okay, let me just see.
Read the articles.
Oh, You abstained the first time around on cemeteries,
Yes.
but this time you did vote. I think it was mainly that one. Because we revisited for the snow box, you voted on it, even though it had salaries.
Yes, I did vote for the snowball.
Okay, but it included salaries. I
yeah,
just wanted you
yeah.
to be aware
No,
that some of the things you voted no on because of salaries, and some of the things, but you're set.
Had to go for the snow box, regardless of what it did for the rest of it.
Okay,
Too important, to save us too much money, and too much time.
okay. And then, yeah, I think that's probably it on those. Okay, moving right along.
Helen, did we get one of the, where's the one that has the prior year numbers and stuff?
We'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about it quick.
That's the most
Okay.
important one.
Do I have any other budget are warrant articles that anybody wants to revisit. Are you happy with how you voted
The warrant article?
on the warrant
Didn't we have
articles?
to do, what's 7? I thought we were doing the one about the health insurance.
We removed that one.
Removed it?
Yep.
Okay, and then what about 17 here that has no?
Which one?
17, we have the amount that the selectmen have recommended, but until tonight's over with, we don't have the number of the budget meeting.
Oh, okay, gotcha, so that's the final, gotcha.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yes.
back up for a second. You pulled the warrant article for health insurance trust?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that one, you did strike that one, and you also did strike the one for paving around Jim's
Right.
area.
The 31,000
So 2 articles
article.
are no longer on. Okay.
The, I had a question on the, and it was just on an article, let's see, it's the library in terms of the funds to do the studies. I'm sorry, the police station, excuse me. And I'm trying to find it here.
8. Oh,
Article 4.
Four.
8.
8.
8.
30,000.
Yeah, I was just, in terms of the wording, it indicates, and I'm trying to locate that right now.
What is right?
On Article 8, it indicates that the study, the $30,000 for a study and design of the new or updated police facility. I think we ought to make sure that those are very preliminary. That kind of money is only for preliminary studies, that it would never include, you know, your complete construction and full design. This is strictly to cover, you know, the preliminary studies for maybe site engineering in terms of your water or ledges or whatever it might be, but I mean, there's no way you could get full construction costs for $30,000. So,
And I would hope that the Board of Selectmen would be pointing that out.
yeah,
as
that's
you-
what I think
Yeah.
it just should be clarified that this is very, very preliminary in nature.
Mhm. Okay.
Somebody may raise the issue, how are you gonna, you know, get full construction plans for $30,000? It's not gonna happen.
And I also
Oh,
wanted,
Schiavi Homes.
if anyone is interested, I know I have a letter from Whitehorse somewhere here indicating what they would do with the money. We've already voted on it. I don't think we need to revisit it. It came down 6-1, but I just wanted the committee to know they were looking at a cash register and a couple of other things that they would purchase with that $2,500 if it, here it is. They also are looking at a computer. I'll just pass this around. We've already voted on it, but unless anybody wants to revisit. I think, John, you were the one that said that you were against that, correct?
Yeah.
So you'll have to let us know if you wanted to revisit that. Okay, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything on warrant articles that you want to address? Okay. Let's look at our final budget review then.
You want to look at estimated revenue?
Well, let's look at estimated revenue.
Yeah, I
Let's
was
do
gonna say,
that.
can we look at the graphs too before we go to the?
We're gonna do that too.
Before,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll do that. You're on, Chip.
I can't find revenue, where are they?
You can't find it? You can look at this one.
You're right on it, actually, if you put the page on.
You have it?
Getting there. 3144,875, is that what you got?
That's what I have.
So the questions are,
Well, you took out the 50,000
Right.
for health insurance.
right, that was the big reduction. We added 4,000 for sale of municipal property, excuse me.
Jack's truck.
And we added, what's on line 3501. On line 3379, we added an additional $600 for the milfoil revenue. And I think those are the
Yeah, I
only
don't
changes.
see any other changes.
What's the highway block grant?
That's money that we get from the state on an annual basis for our share of the gas tax. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, and
We get
it's how many road,
30,000.
how many miles of road we have in town. and
Okay,
Okay.
It's in around 70,000,
80.
80.
80.
Right.
It went up a couple grandish.
Mhm. Do we have any questions for Chip in regards to this estimated revenue?
So what is the $610,000 motor vehicle?
Those are registrations.
Okay, thank you.
We haven't added anything. I guess we got an opportunity to add something to that for our highways, but we didn't really flesh that conversation out.
You have $100,000 from departments, including the library, and Clay just said he had $104,000 in revenue
Right.
from the transfer station alone, so should that be about $120,000 maybe? Or are you just being conservative?
I think we were living with the numbers that we had at the time, and
It makes sense to be a little
Yeah, we need
conservative,
to
I
be a
think.
little-
We do.
we've got payment in lieu of tax in 7, and that jumps all over the place year to year, depending on the mood of the camps. And penalties and interest, betterments, that sort of thing. I mean, these are generally what we get,
Mhm.
but I don't know that the selectmen are interested in increasing it by 20 grand.
We're talking about the
Especially-
revision on 1/29/18, the date.
Where are you?
We have,
129, yeah,
okay, so we're at 899,245,
yes. With the,
That's the remaining fund
remaining
balance.
balance.
That's the remaining fund balance. Actually, that needs to get updated, and it will when we do our annual, when we get audited, that'll be higher than that, because that doesn't include the 2017.
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions for Chip on this one? No? Okay. Let's, oh, I'm
Do we have
sorry.
to do a motion to reopen this and revote it, or no?
This is what it is. I don't think we vote on this.
Okay. We didn't have to vote it the first time?
We didn't,
No.
Okay.
Just for information.
Yeah.
okay.
So we can do whatever we want.
Vote anything you want, just vote on anything.
Let's review the January 16 minutes, please. Does anyone have any changes? Corrections?
Yeah, the only suggestion on this would be, on that, again, on that Article 8, after $30,000, or we should indicate that those are only preliminary. For preliminary design, a study and design. Maybe
Okay.
that might clarify it a little bit.
And I don't think that we can do that from our minutes, but I, again, would like to say
That'd be
to the
reflected
Board
in
of
tonight's
Selectmen
minutes.
if they would make sure that's clear to the voters, what they've got for $30,000.
But that would be reflected in tonight's minutes.
Pardon me?
That would be reflected in tonight's minutes.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay, Bob?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's just a question that I had.
Is he would like it to go back to DRA and the selectmen with the wording changed, or just to be mentioned at?
No, just mention it in the minutes, I think, you know, to make sure that we all understand that those are very preliminary studies.
Okay.
We're going to put you by a microphone.
No, you're not.
Okay. Anything else?
I move that we approve the January 16 minutes as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Well done, Karen, thank you. And correspondence, I passed around already the White Horse document, in case anyone wanted to look at it. And then I know we all received from a resident an email. I don't have anything to add in regards to that, unless someone else wants to bring it up. No? Okay. Under new business. Pardon me, John?
What was that? What was the other email?
Oh, it was an email from a resident to the Board of Selectmen, you probably, and the Budget Committee. You already received it. I don't have any comments. I don't know if anyone else does. Which is, okay.
I assume we'll talk about it later.
Pardon me?
I said, I assume we'll talk about it later. In public input?
Well, if the individual would like to.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not part of the agenda, is it?
Yes, public
Oh.
input.
Public input is, yeah.
Then it would be under the correspondence.
No.
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 Public input.
Public input.
But doesn't public input have to conform to what we discussed at this particular meeting?
No, I've already discussed that we received the email.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, new business, graphs, Helen.
Okay,
I think we can tell the public what their input can be.
sent around the graph that you
Read
have.
that.
This one, I'm sorry that the copies are black and white, but that was a mistake. But anyway, you all have a copy. The $3,742,055 is the actual amount that we have approved with all of our votes tonight. So that's,
Oh, even the decreases?
This is here?
yeah, this is what the budget is right at this very moment, with all of, everything we voted on, the decreases and the increases.
Okay, that's
Why
just
is
the
that
operating
different?
budget. Okay.
So, this is, if we approve the budget tonight,
Why are we $250 apart?
because in donations, you approved $250 more than
Okay,
the
thanks.
thing we did.
All right.
So,
It's a long day.
Palm will fade, don't worry.
so it's, unless there is some input on this, I will give this to Karen tomorrow so that she can send it all.
What's that figure again?
$3,742,055. 3742055.
How about if you give it to her after we vote?
Well, yes. No, as I said, if we approve the
Okay.
budget, then this is what,
We should include that number in this. I mean,
Well-
you've approved $3,742,055.
But
So when
we
we get to
haven't
Article
approved-
17,
we have.
that's
That will
the
go, yes.
number that we'll use.
That's the number
Okay.
we'll use, but we haven't voted on it yet.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Now, you'll also notice that I did not give you the 5-year operating budget. We've had some discussion about this, and I feel that this is what we're asking the town to approve. So I think this is what we should be giving them. I don't think we should be giving them the history.
And the history is in the annual report.
It's all in the annual report.
So this becomes a handout at the budget hearing?
No, it's in our annual report.
Well, this, I believe, my suggestion is that this goes in the annual report, but not this.
Last year we had both.
Because this, it's true, this is the budget we're asking them to vote on, but I think this gives them more information, and I don't think
So
that.
we won't be talking about the percentage of increase.
Well, I did some, now these numbers will all be in the annual report. The increase over the 2017 budget is going to be $89,300 or 2.4%. 2.4%. The increase over the actual budget is going to be $158,407 or a 4.4% increase.
And we're not going to, if that's in the annual report, so we're not going to show any of that on any graphs.
Right,
Will
because
that help you, Chip?
the,
I don't know that, I guess more information is better information as far as I'm concerned, but this is going to go into the town report
it did last year.
and not the historical.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not ready to make a decision for the selectmen on that, but if you could give us both items of information, I'll bring it up at the
Yeah, why are you
next meeting.
concerned about giving that?
Well, there's some discussion about what the column should be. And I feel that it should be the actual expenditures for all the prior years
I agree.
and the budget for next year. The concern was some people wanted to add a column for last year's budget as well. But I figure that shouldn't be a benchmark. The benchmark should be what we actually spend.
Unless you use, rather than an extra column, just a narrative. Just put.
I think having the actual numbers on there for the years was helpful.
Yeah,
I agree.
I
Okay.
think that they're actually what we spent. The problem, and I think Helen's been very politic to not bring my name into this. The problem I have is when you compare what we're asking for a budget against what actually was spent, that's apples and oranges. So we have 4 years worth of actual expenses. We don't know what we're actually going to spend next year. But historically, there's no reference here to what we budgeted. So if we historically budget 6% more than we spend, there's nothing here to explain that. So a 4% or whatever percent increase this shows against the actual expenditures isn't really showing the whole situation. So
Well, I think that
we're never going to agree with this, just so you know.
And these are Helen's graphs.
if you take into account that you cannot spend more money than was in the budget for last year. I mean, that's a given. That's one thing in
Right.
business that, they can spend more than is in the budget. You can't. We can't.
Well, they can't either, except
So-
with extraordinary circumstances. But that being said, one of the things that I find difficult to explain to the average citizen who's not served in government is how these undesignated fund balances occur. And this isn't helping that explanation. So that's another element to it that
Okay.
I'd like to flesh
So
out.
you're saying if we had the actual money number that was budgeted, the difference would be very simply explained as that difference goes into the undesignated fund balance. Okay, even I can get that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you accumulate
Of course.
money.
Yeah.
That and and Mana from Concord.
Right.
But I feel that that's an explanation. You don't need the hard numbers. The other tricky piece with this is that I work real closely with Diane on this because she keeps getting invoices, so her actual numbers keep getting updated.
Right.
So we come to a, it's hard to synchronize the final numbers for the actual spending.
Is there any way, would it satisfy everyone if, rather than a whole column, because couldn't we just say increase of 2.4% over,
You can say, I mean,
In a narrative
I'm just
form.
a selectman representative on the budget committee, so you can say whatever you feel like saying.
Yeah.
But the part of the narrative going forward is that in 2017, we used $350,000 from the undesignated fund balance to actually lower the taxes by a couple of pennies. We're looking at a $470,000 increase this year, given the scope of the warrant articles that we're investing in. It doesn't mean that that's going to drive the tax rate through the ceiling, because we have a significant unfunded or undesignated fund balance. So we can moderate that over time, but it would certainly be helpful to illustrate that we're not just spending our savings account, we're actually accumulating annually. So if we decide to put $300,000 against taxes next October, we will have gained 100 from 2017, let's just use them round figures. So our actual reduction is only 200, and 20%, holding 20% in abeyance is 600,000. We're still $400,000 ahead of the game. So I mean, it's easier to describe the system going forward with that information, but you can honestly, Helen, we're never going to agree. So you can do whatever you like.
What would you like, what would the committee
Okay, well,
like
let
to
me
see?
just say a little bit about the history of this too, how it developed.
Yes.
There was some controversy several years ago because the amounts of by department that were put into the budget the library had been omitted. So when I joined the committee, the accountant in me said, well, you need to allocate things so that the total in the budget is the total on here. So that was why I put this together. And to me, that was what was important. There was another member on the budget committee that said it would really help me if you did a history. So because of that, I did the history, but it was not.
It wasn't
history was
part of
not
the
really
initial
my idea.
plan.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No, I think
that's a little of the history.
it's all of this is very helpful. Any illustration like this is going to be clearer than all the other stuff that we have.
So I will, whatever you all want, I'll work on it, but just let me know.
Well, and I know time is of the essence. Could we have some feedback from the rest of the committee?
Budgets are just that. You're trying to project out an 18-month window. As a taxpayer, I'm much more concerned with what was spent, not what was budgeted. Because you can be a hero, just say, oh, look how much we underspend our budget by inflating that budget. Okay? Show the people where it got spent, what was spent, and that's what people really want to know, in my opinion.
Okay. Bob, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, a budget is nothing more than an estimate of what you're going to do, and it's a target that moves all the time. And I think it's. I agree with Gordon in the sense that it's more important that what you've actually spent. And I think what the only negative is that, well, you're collecting too much, you're being too conservative, therefore But you have to be in the budgetary process because of the fact that it's a moving target and you don't know what's coming up. It's your best guess as to what you're going to be spending, and I
But how does, for both Gordon and Bob, how and should that be reflected on this chart?
Or should we leave out that chart?
Should we leave out this chart and just do the pie chart, or is this an important part of what we're trying to?
If people, my point is that if you're concerned with past history, okay, if you want to show 5 years worth of numbers, I would show 5 years worth of real numbers, not 5 years of what was projected as numbers. Okay.
Okay, Guy, what do you think?
Jerry McGuire, show me the money. That's what I want to see. Show
What
me
are
what
your
was
thoughts,
spent.
Guy?
Well, I can tell you how much money was budgeted in 1902 because I have all those town reports. If I want a 5-year history, I just have to take 5 years worth of town reports out of the cabinet, sit there and go through them. That would indicate a real interest by me. However, I don't think the general public is going to do that. And I'd like to see this chart and the actual money budgeted as well. I think I agree with Chip.
Okay, and Chip, you would like to see both?
It doesn't matter to me that much. I have to deal with, I mean, on the one hand, I appreciate what Gordon was saying, that it's what you spend. But you're always constrained by the taxes you raise. So the only heroics would be to raise the taxes and not spend the money. But there's no way to not do both if you're doing that.
Well, that's how you build up your fund balance.
Right, but we haven't raised the taxes. We're trying to control the tax rates. And I think I need to be able to sit at the town meeting and know that what I'm saying to the people when asked is exactly what's going to happen.
And this helps you do that?
Part of it does, yeah. And I'm fine. I can work with whatever you...
John, what do you think about?
I feel like I liked that other report because it gave me information. I don't care how we spread out the budget. Like, I don't think that this, and I don't know how much time you spent on this. I mean, it's good information, but I don't care how we're allocating the budget. I care about what our actual expenditure is compared to what we're budgeting. To me, that gives me more information. Like, that was what I was looking for. And then, because this just spreads it out, just as what department has what percentage of the budget. It's both important, I just don't know if this one gives me the information.
Okay. I truly value both of these charts, and I want to commend Helen for putting them together. She worked one whole summer without any help from anybody and working with staff here to get this done, and she's done it every year since she's been on, and I think it's valuable information. My only thought would be is if you're going to do the 5-year history, to just somewhere on there a commentary of the difference between actual and budget. It doesn't have to be a whole other column, but I'm not tied to that idea, so it doesn't have to be. Because we can say, well,
and if we want to make a compromise, and I would hope that we could, if you eliminated the budget line on this page, the 18 budget, then it's clear. This is the historical record. No, and then you have this.
Then you have to compare the 2 pages. I just want the percentage right there on that page. Right, that's all I care about. I just like to see the percentage at the bottom.
Exactly, and that's why this page is worthless.
That's why it's important.
No, because it doesn't actually reflect anything.
It does what I actually spent last year compared to what we're budgeting.
This is what we're
critical information.
No, it isn't. It isn't, because it doesn't give you the percentage of what you budgeted in 16 versus what you spent. So you have no idea what that number represents.
No, but I can tell what the actual was from 16 to actual to 17. To me, that's just as important.
Right, so that is important. That's very important information. But the problem I have with this is that
and compare it.
Knowing that we're trying to budget X for 2018, it doesn't inform you at all.
You'll get your chance to speak at town meeting.
I certainly will. I'll speak about budget.
All right, it looks like the consensus of this committee is to have both charts.
Okay.
Is, but
That's the
should we
majority.
vote on both charts? And
If we were to vote, are we voting to advise the selectmen that we would like that? I mean, we can't
well,
really require them to do
it's
that.
always been a decision the budget committee made.
Yeah, you can put anything on.
The charts, these originated with the budget committee, with this lady
Okay.
here. So,
So we have to make a motion, wouldn't we?
yes, I think we
I'll
do,
do
John.
that. Yeah, I'll make the motion that we vote on what we're gonna put in the town
What's it gonna be
report. For both of them.
for both of them? May I have a
Just the
second?
way they are.
Just, that one just the way it is, I don't care what you do with this one.
Okay,
See, this one's more important to me. I want to see where we're going to spend them.
So I say both, the way that they are.
both the way that you did it last year. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. For purpose of conversation, I just wanted to add a narrative would help, but I'm not tied to it. All in favor of them?
Well, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
just so we're making sure we're understanding what we're talking about. You're putting the 5-year actual dollars spent and 5-year budget numbers?
Just like this.
Just
No
the
budget,
actual.
just dollars spent?
No,
Year budget.
actual, no, 1, 2, 3, 4 years of actual and 1 year of budget.
Current budget.
All right, okay, that's fine, that's fine.
4 years of actual history and then what we're estimating for next year.
Very good.
Okay. All in favor? No?
No.
You don't want the charts?
I'm forced to vote on two of them, and I want one of them to say the actual budget, so I had no choice but to say no.
No, they're both gonna say the budget.
I meant the actual budgets in the 5-year history. One of those is not gonna be what I want
He
in.
wants 10.
And you're asking me to vote on both of those.
Actual budget, actual budget, actual budget, actual budget.
Yeah.
The estimated.
So I can't very well, if I have to vote on two and I can't approve one, I can't very well vote yes.
Well, if you can get
Simple
that
math.
to Helen before the next meeting.
Okay,
I can't, really
Really
asking
small
for it.
okay. And maybe next year it can be
You never know.
revisited again, okay?
So that was it, did we win? Was that 4-3?
Did we win?
Was that 4-3? Finally, good. Got one.
Okay.
It was actually 4.
Oh, no,
I thought it was
5-2,
but-
5-2. Yeah,
5-1-1, because I abstained.
Oh, did you abstain?
Oh, you
Okay.
abstained.
Okay, 5-1-1,
That was a good one. Yeah.
I'm
okay.
gonna have to talk about it again. I can't bring it back to the selectmen.
I like your narrative, though, the way you frame your narrative, but the hole in that is that I don't include anything to do with the warrant articles. So this is actually incomplete.
It is.
Yeah, but I think a narrative becomes political. I think that the numbers are just the numbers. I think once you start adding words, then we
Okay.
can phrase it in ways that we want it to sound. I think the numbers are the numbers.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Repeat this horse. Okay.
I didn't see it as a political move on my part, but
Okay, did you have any other updates for us? You're up, Chip, for Selectmen update. I think we covered pretty much everything.
yeah, I think we covered everything. I've just been trying to parse out the tax implications.
Yes, if we vote on this, which we're going to look at
Right.
after June. Do you
Right,
want,
if we vote on this and do nothing in October as far as working on the taxes, it's about a 46-cent increase, which is less than 20%.
but is that just for the operating budget, or is that
No, that's for
including
the
all
whole,
warrants?
that's the whole thing.
It's-
It's a $460,000 increase between in the combined warrant articles and operating budget.
Did you figure it out just for the warrant, or for the operating budget?
I didn't know.
How about it?
In this,
Maybe we should vote on this. Anything? Right now, we are at, for the operating budget, 3
yeah,
million.
you can, Problem is, you can't base the tax rate on the operating budget, because it doesn't take into account revenue.
No,
So, the revenues are up, operating budget's up, the net difference is $460,000. So if we do nothing as a Board of Selectmen on October, the taxes are gonna go up about 40 cents a thousand. But obviously, we have enough money in our undesignated fund balance to offset that increase. There should be some increase, just to accommodate for a new library and fire truck, but it probably would, I mean, I'm thinking if we did not as much, if we only did $300,000, we're only looking at an 11-cent increase. So now we're going from 273 to 284. So I think we can still keep the town rate down under $3 and not exercise the undesignated fund balance too much. But we can't, I can't base the taxes on this number.
I was just gonna say, Helen, your number doesn't match up to this number.
Which number?
the February,
The budget, the 3,020,000.
what run are you looking at? 2518?
And which column are you looking
The total budget,
This one right here.
grand total. Yeah, that
at? The one that
It's
says
off by
3,728,000?
28,000, she got 3,742,000, that's more.
Okay, the
Right.
3,728,655 does not include any of the changes that we voted on this evening.
Oh, I thought, okay. I thought,
So this
So-
number.
I think opened with that they were, that we did.
We printed it on, or Karen printed the 3,742,305, premised on the selectmen's votes that happened on Monday, which you guys all voted on tonight. So, and we're still at $250 for it.
Yeah, the handwritten amount with your approvals is
But the
just
number
24
that we're
cents, I
playing
don't know
with,
about
we're
24
looking at
cents
is
is
3,742,055.
Yeah, where's that 24 cents?
That's the budget
It's in a
kind
couple
of.
of different other lines. Yeah, the selectmen decided to keep it, so,
Okay.
because otherwise you have to change budget lines.
What we have approved so far is 3,742,55.24.
Yes.
You looking for a motion on that?
Yes, we need a
So
motion.
moved.
Okay. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Helen? All in favor?
Was this on the final budget? Oh, that was quick.
You just voted on everything else.
Everything else? What do you got?
So a 4.4% increase
Yes.
over actuals.
Where did I put one?
It is 2,
Anything on this number?
It is a 4.4% increase over actual.
okay. Chick?
I have a selectman record. Should I vote on this? I'm not certain.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
please.
Well,
is.
you're a member of the budget committee.
Well, no, I can't, because, no, I'm gonna vote, I've already voted 3,742,305.
But that was when you had your selectmen hat on.
Now you're a representative
Now
here.
you're
so
having-
you-
Really? Is that
I
how it
don't,
works?
I don't know.
Is that how it works?
Whatever.
I think
I
this one's
think-
gonna
I don't
be,
think it'll matter.
I don't know
Sounds like
what
we
either.
got the, yeah.
But it goes in the final report that you didn't. So what's the problem?
Because what you're asking me to do is
As a
vote on
selectman,
two
you
numbers.
approved a different number.
Oh,
Well, then you
If
should
the
vote
numbers
no.
were the same, it would be fine. And you can not count my vote as
but
a no.
is
You
it
can
just
just
over
not-
the $250?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't vote for two budgets,
Okay.
Seems right.
So you
So
must abstain now.
abstain.
then I will abstain.
So,
I'll explain it later.
so we've got, Guy,
No.
were you a no?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 5-1-1.
One.
511.
Bishop's accounting.
Okay, and for all the reasons that you told us before.
Well, actually, for none of them, in that respect, but if I voted no on any part of this operating budget, then I would approve a final budget that reflected that less amount. So I don't know how anybody who voted no on any one of these line items or anything in this budget could vote yes for for that number, since they did not approve it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Nope, that's,
I
I
don't
just need
understand it
to
at
have
all.
you verbalize, because some do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. Next meeting date, our public hearing is next week. And we usually meet at 6 o'clock, just the budget committee to go over anything we think we need to go over. Then the public hearing starts at 6:30. So we will see you up there at 6 o'clock. We do have a change in snow day. Our snow day was to be the next day on the 14th, but Jack brought it to your,
It was posted the Thursday,
we posted which day?
Thursday, snow day.
Which day did we post?
We posted Thursday, yeah, but we're gonna do a
So
new one.
Wednesday.
We have to do a new one though, anyway,
That's not-
because Board of Select, or not Board of Selectmen, Planning has a meeting that's publicized on that night. So our snow date is going to be Friday, February 16th. Okay?
So that's the 13th and the 16th?
13th and 16th. Okay. Public input.
I know you just went over this number, but could you repeat the 3,700,000?
$3,742,055.24. And it was 511.
Thank you. And then one other thing about the charts and the graphs, since Helen, you're, volunteering to do it, but the rest of you guys kind of like voted to volunteer her more work that she doesn't want to do. Shouldn't you vote on having the staff do that?
I think
Helen's gonna,
she's-
at some point, we don't know when, not gonna be on the board anymore, and, maybe next month, maybe 3 years from now,
I don't think we
and
asked
may
you
get
to
tired
do-
of doing it at some point.
True. Did we ask you to do any more work? It's going to be just the same as last year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's no extra, we talked about a lot of different things, but nothing else is
She
added.
doesn't want to.
Good, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
I have something.
yes.
I'm having a problem with the way our system is operating with the different boards.
Okay.
CIP is on my list. It says here from the town's website, CIP's mission, that CIP provides a formal legally recognized bridge between the town's master plan and the annual budgeting activity. And the report, with its identified costs and forward-looking timetable, is the action plan to implement the goals of the master plan. Now, at the moment, we've got a master plan that's almost 12 years old and hasn't been updated. That makes it hard for CIP to stay on top of the current trends and everything. They weren't even provided with a copy of the master plan survey, which would be the best thing they could have to at least get a feel for what's going on. I think the system has failed here miserably. And I'd like to offer Helen and everybody at this table a copy of that master plan survey if you want it. I will have enough for everybody at the public hearing, because I think it's important to see just exactly what the taxpayers are thinking. And until we have an updated master plan, as far as I can see, we're operating without one. That's my opinion.
But the survey was compromised. It was never completed.
Oh, it's done.
And it was never reviewed by anybody.
Then why didn't the planning board do that, Bob?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
The survey is meaningless.
It was never
It was
compromised.
removed from security, and
No.
nobody,
Okay.
That was found not
I'll
to
tell
be
you
true,
what,
Bob.
guys, this is really not a budget
Right.
committee issue, but
I
I
say it is,
suggest,
I'll just tell you why it is, ma'am.
Okay.
Because the CIP committee has recommended these warrant articles that we have to vote on.
okay,
If the system hasn't been followed properly, we've been given the wrong information, or at least information that's slanted. That's why it's a budget committee
I
issue.
would suggest you leave them on the table if anyone wants to
shall, by
take
all
one.
means.
But probably where it needs to be discussed is with the planning board.
Oh, I will be,
Yeah.
on Thursday night,
Yeah,
don't worry, it's gonna be
rather
happening.
than-
But
rather
if
than-
anybody's interested, there's the survey.
Thank you very much,
And it
guys.
was never found that there was any compromising going on It was actually proved by RSA that there was nothing, no one was prosecuted until it came time to reappoint the Budget Committee chairman. I'll leave that alone.
All right.
But shouldn't that be part of a total update of the entire town plan? I mean, that's just,
Yes.
a little piece of the information.
And that's been delayed.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so now you're working off 11-year-old master plan, which doesn't reflect the attitude of the taxpayers.
We need to back up, folks. Can't leave yet, Laura.
Public input, by the way.
Attention, everyone. We did vote on the budget, but Karen just pointed out I should read this article in full, and we should vote on it, okay?
So do we have to revisit? I make a motion, we revisit the
Okay, let's
article.
second. We're gonna
Town
vote
budget.
voted on that
just
one
in
yet.
case.
Oh, okay, yeah, you haven't voted on that one yet, okay.
Okay, so here we go, folks. Article 17. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee recommendation sum of $3,742,055.24 for general town operations. The Selectmen recommended $3,742,305.24. This article does not include any special or individual warrant articles addressed separately. Majority vote required, and we voted
511.
511. Okay? All in, I think we're set then. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, I just wasn't sure.
Okay. I think we're set. May I have a motion to adjourn? John and Gordon and Bob. All in favor?
Au revoir.
Thank you. I'll see all of you next week.
Indeed.
6 o'clock. Town meeting.
6 o'clock. We may have anything to talk about, but if we do,
You'll always find something.
we'll find something.
The weather's always